الله. نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فهو المهتدي ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة خلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. Inshallah, يعني tonight we dedicate this session for questions and answers related to Ramadan, and let's limit it inshallah to Ramadan. يعني the issues like Siyam itself, Zakat al-Mal and Zakat al-Fitr, and anything else that cross your mind or you have a question or inquisition about. Right? So we start inshallah. Anyone who has a question? طيب يلا. السلام عليكم. علماء ما شاء الله. Scholars. The question is how much Zakat al-Fitr. Wallahi, Zakat al-Fitr is the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and the opinion of the majority of Ahl al-Ilm that Zakat al-Fitr should be paid as food. And the exception of this opinion is the opinion of al-Ahnaf, and that is you can give the qima or the value of the food. But you look at the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ and all the hadith, and you find the actions of the Sahaba, you see that when they gave their Zakat al-Fitr, and this is the Zakah that you give before Salat al-Eid, they gave it as food. And the food is the customary food of the people in certain area. And the types of food that are mentioned in the hadith are the tamr, the dates, sha'ir, barley, al-burr, al-qamh, and these are the things and similar things. Today's we have rice and we have the beans and all these things. The types of foods that people are used to, and they used to give sa' min sha'ir or sa' min tamr أو صاع من بر والصاع 4 أمداد والمد ملء كفتين. يعني الصاع 4 أمداد, and each mud is 2 hands, يعني average person hands 2 together full of something. So الصاع 4 of those things, 4 handfuls of certain product. And يعني the ulama estimated the صاع of the Prophet ﷺ to be between 2 and 3 kilograms, and that is about 4.5 to maybe 7 pounds. And you want to go be safe, you go with the highest, and that is 7 pounds of rice, 7 pounds of dates, 7 pounds of flour, whatever the people are used to do. And this is the sunnah, and this is the best thing. It's noticeable that you find in masajid $10 and $9 and $8, and it fluctuates. يعني they averaged it, but honestly يعني the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ is you pay it as food, you give it as food. And there are brothers who are willing to take these things and to distribute it on the people who are qualified. And who is qualified to receive Zakat al-Fitr? The ulama have 3 opinions. Some of them said everyone who is qualified to receive Zakat al-Mal, the 8 types of people that Allah has mentioned. And the opinion of the majority of the ulama, 2 types, fuqara wal masakin, the poor people, yani. Okay, the poor people, and the poor person doesn't mean starving person or homeless person. The poor person, يعني, who is hardly making end means, who is hardly يعني surviving this, and whatever people consider to be poor, that is the person that who's qualified to receive these things. And also يعني, something came to my mind, that is, if you want, يعني, someone might say, but it's better for them to get money. This is what the best thing for you to fulfill the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. And actually it's a lot of the ulama said it's a must. يعني, you have no choice to give money. It should be food. It should be food. And to balance between this opinion and to balance between people, some people maybe need the money more, is whatever you buy it from Commonplace, buy it from Publix, buy it from Winn-Dixie, and put the receipt in the bag. Put the receipt in the bag. When they get the food, if they don't want it, they can take it back and refund the money. That's the end of it. Because once you give him the sadaqah or zakah, it becomes his property. And he has the right to do whatever he wants with it. So do it this way. Keep the receipt inside the bag, and whenever whoever receives it can return it if he has enough. Maybe he got enough this or enough of that, and it might go bad. And these things يعني, usually don't go bad. When you want to buy things that don't go bad, يعني, you don't go and buy them يعني, vegetables and fruits and all that. No, these things can go bad. Buy the customary foods of the people, things that they can store and they can stay with them for a few months or a year or so they can benefit with it. So that is, inshallah, what we will try to do in this masjid. And as a result of this, we would rather that, يعني, as the ulama said, that you bring the products. If you know someone who's needy or you know someone who's poor, then take it directly to them. That will make it a lot easier for everyone. Especially in this masjid, the community is small. Okay, so if you have to drop it off in a masjid that is bigger, they have bigger community, they have bigger or more people who are poor and needy, they can get rid of it as soon as possible. يعني zakat al-fitr should be given right before Salat al-Eid. Okay, but the ulama rakhasu and allowed to be given 2 or 3 days before. And in our situation, since we don't know a lot of people, it's better to give it 2 or 3 days, if it's food especially, in advance, so it can reach the food before Salat al-Eid. Can reach the food before Salat al-Eid. Brother Shazam can direct you into that. Yeah.
Yes, perfect.
Right.
So that's 7 pounds,
7 pounds, estimated. Huh?
7 pounds.
No, 7 pounds to be safe. Yeah.
I'm sorry. For my son, he's like 5.5 years old. Am I supposed to pay for him?
Okay, zakat. Who's supposed to pay zakat al-fitr? Zakat al-fitr is obligatory on every members of the family and every members that you are in charge of and you're responsible about. Okay. And the hadith, Ibn Umar radiallahu anh said, يعني الحر والعبد الذكر والأنثى, everyone in the household. So you have kids, you have wives, you have parents that living with you and you're responsible about them now. Every individual you need to give zakat al-fitr. So 7 pounds on each one. So you have your wife and your kid and yourself, that is 21 pounds. Okay? The non-born, in the يعني, hadith that the non-born you give zakat al-fitr on the non-born or the infant يعني, or non-born. But Uthman radiallahu anhu did that. Uthman bin Affan used to do that. He used to give zakat al-fitr on the non-born when the wife is pregnant, and he used to tell the people to do that. So it's يعني recommended but not wajib. It's recommended, not wajib. Yeah.
And if you are caring for someone, for a parent or someone that overseas, what is the...
if you're what? Caring for someone?
Yeah, overseas. Do you give
it's really, يعني it's better if they cannot do it themselves, you can send them the money and give it to the people where they are. And if you can't reach that and it's very hard, then you can do it where you are on their behalf. Okay? Anyone you're responsible about, you do it on their behalf, whether where you are or where they are. Okay? It's not an issue. Yeah.
What's your experience here? It's hard to find people to give. It's possible to send money overseas like
Allah, he's asking, can we send the money just overseas to because there are more poor people and all that? Yani if we do that, and if we all do that, then we have taken the rights of the poor here. Okay? We have taken the rights and the share and nasib and help the poor people in our neighborhoods and in our communities. And what's happening, I talked to Brother Shazam, and we found out that the best way is whatever we get in this masjid is we send it to one of those organized masajid, old masajid that they have big community around them. And at the end of the day, this is small musalla like IMOF, Sunrise, Masjid Al-Ihsan. They have bigger communities, Miami Gardens. They have bigger communities, and they have honestly list of people who are needy, and they can contact them, and these people can get it. But I think keeping it here will be very difficult to give away. The people who should give zakat al-fitr, the ulama said, if you have enough qut, enough sustenance for yourself and your family for one night before Eid. If you have that minimum, then you should give zakat al-fitr. You're obligated, and giving zakat al-fitr does not, being obligated to give zakat al-fitr does not mean that you're not allowed to receive it. Okay? To give zakat, if you become obligated to give zakat al-fitr, that does not mean you're not allowed to receive it as poor person. Okay? All right.
If Ramadan, they said shaitan is chained, right?
Yeah.
We often, we talk about anything.
Anything?
Shaitan is chained, right? He said and people are released from the hellfire?
Free.
If Laylatul Qadr is not here yet,
If what?
What is it? Sorry. Judgment Day. What is it? So it's not here yet, and everybody's waiting to be judged.
Right.
Who is being released from the hellfire?
It's not released from the hellfire. You freed from the hellfire. Freed, not you were in there and you got freed. You're here. But freed, you're saved from the hellfire. Okay? وَلِلَّهِ عُتَقَاءٌ مِنَ النَّارِ. That is freed from the hellfire. They are protected from the hellfire. They are saved from the hellfire. That is a mercy from Allah. Allah will still hold you accountable, will judge you, will this, will that, and with His mercy subhanahu wa ta'ala, will perhaps on that Ramadan you did this, you qualified and you deserve to be freed from the hellfire. I saved you from the hellfire because of that Ramadan, so there is no fire for you. That is what it means. Not freed, they brought out. Not they were in prison and they came out. Yeah.
Is it wajib for someone to perform Eid after Ramadan and Eid after the Hajj season? Is it wajib?
To do what?
To do Eid with to do Eid, with the work, to do Eid with the Muslim after Ramadan.
To do work? To celebrate,
Yeah.
You have to be with the community and
Allah, it's not wajib. No one said wajib. Their responsibilities. They were people who were protecting the lands of Islam on the days of Eid, and that is their work. They're people who were selling stuff on that day and this and that. So it's not wajib to celebrate with the community, to be with them in their festivals. But it's from the Sunnah, as the Prophet ﷺ ordered everyone to go out to Salat al-Eid and to be together. But I don't know anyone who said it's wajib. It's not. It's wajib not to fast. It's haram to fast on that day, but not to work. Allahu a'lam. I'm not familiar. Salat al-Eid, العلماء have different opinions about Salat al-Eid. Some of them said it's wajib. Some of the ulama, I think Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, said it's wajib. And some of them said sunnah mu'akkada. Sunnah mu'akkada. And some said sunnah fardu kifaya. Fardu kifaya, if some do it, then the rest don't have to do it. And those who said it's wajib, really they have very strong opinions and very strong reasoning. And the fact that you find the ulama of Islam and you find the Sahaba never abandoned Salat al-Eid, and never were late to Salat al-Eid, leaving Salat al-Eid, as well as the ulama and the Prophet ﷺ before all of them. And al-arjah and the most correct, it's sunnah mu'akkada, very strong sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, that every Muslim should try his best to be there. And again, those who said it's wajib, they have strong opinion.
It is bid'ah to complete the whole of Quran in the month of Ramadan. Second question is.
You mean in the Salah?
In the month. No, in the month.
طيب. What else?
The other question is, which one is first, to do the 6 Shawwal or to do the Qada, Imam al-Qada?
طيب. يلا.
Can you get married in Ramadan? Is there a married in Ramadan?
And I get married now.
All right, the first question about finishing the recitation of the Quran during Ramadan. It's not a bid'ah, it's not innovation, and there is no order to finish the recitation, or you should finish the recitation of the whole Quran or the whole Mus'haf during Ramadan. But people take Ramadan as opportunity to do that. And you find the ulama that when the month of Ramadan comes in, they will put aside al-fiqh, and they will put aside the siyar, and they will put aside the history, and they will put aside every other type of ilm and ilm al-hadith, and they will dedicate their time for the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. حتى إن الإمام الشافعي كان يختم القرآن 60 مرة في الشهر. شهر رمضان. Imam al-Shafi'i used to finish the Quran, recitation of the Quran 60 times during the month of Ramadan. One during the day and one during the night. But the point is, some people say, how is that possible and all that. If you have memorized the Quran, then you will know that it's doable and it's possible. But the point is, a lot of people and a lot of brothers and sisters get caught with this idea that I have to finish the Quran. This is a great endeavor and this is a great intention. But perhaps, a lot of the Sahaba, very, very few of the Sahaba memorized the whole Quran. Very few of the Sahaba. One of those, Abdullah bin Amr ibn al-As, he managed to memorize the Quran before the death of the Prophet ﷺ. But very few of them. And as Umar radiallahu anhu said, we used to memorize 5 ayat and will not move to the next until we put it into practice and understand it and reflect on it and all that. And I think Umar bin Khattab took him 8 years to memorize Surah Al-Baqarah. So it's very important to understand, it's not about how much you read. Even though there's great reward. With every letter you get hasana. لا أقول ألف لام ميم حرف ولكن ألف حرف لام حرف and ميم حرف. I don't say ألف لام ميم one letter, but ألف is one and لام is one, and كل حسنة الله يضاعف 10 حسنات 10 أضعاف. There's a great reward. But reflection and pondering upon the ayat of the Quran can be much more beneficial and can benefit you with your life and with your deen great deal. So if you choose to finish the Quran, reciting the Quran once, it's also, do not forget and do not neglect the fact that you need to reflect. You need to reflect. One of the ulama used to cry, and when he passes over an ayah or example in the Quran or a knowledge and he does not understand it, and when they ask him why, he says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that وَتِلْكَ الْأَمْثَالُ نَضْرِبُهَا لِلنَّاسِ وَمَا وَتِلْكَ الْأَمْثَالُ نَضْرِبُهَا لِلنَّاسِ وَمَا يَعْقِلُهَا إِلَّا الْعَالِمُونَ. And these are the examples we give to people, the analogies, and only الْعَالِمُونَ can understand it. So when he sees that he could not understand, he knows he's not from amongst those, so he cries. So it's very important to يعني focus on the more important of the Mus'haf, and the recitation is very important. And if you have the energy and the will to finish the Quran during Ramadan, that's a great deal, and no one has said it's bid'ah. Reciting the Quran is never bid'ah. What's bid'ah about reciting the Quran is to specifically recite the Quran for specific occasions in specific ways and specific manners. That is not reported in the Sunnah of the Prophet, but it's not mandatory to finish the Quran during the month of Ramadan. Should you make up the if you miss some days during Ramadan, pregnant women, women who go through their menses, or someone who's traveling or sick, many reasons that you can miss fasting Ramadan. No, missing a day of fasting is a major sin. For without excuse is a major sin من الكبائر. حتى يعني بعض العلماء فسقوا وزندقوا من أفطر في رمضان من غير عذر. He who breaks his fast in Ramadan without excuse. So it's a serious crime. But if you have the excuse, then you make it up after Ramadan. And you should rush to make it, because it's dayn. It's debt on your shoulders for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَدَيْنُ اللَّهِ أَحَقُّ أَنْ يُقْضَى. And the debt of Allah is more worthy to be paid off. So that is one opinion. They said you should pay, or you should make up the days that you had missed during the month before the 6th voluntarily of Shawwal. That is one opinion. The other opinion, they based it on the hadith of Aisha radiyallahu anha, that I used to wait until before the following Ramadan to make up for the missed days because of the need of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And so they said, obviously Aisha does not know the virtue of fasting the 6th of Shawwal, and she's gonna miss that. So she fasted the 6th of Shawwal, the 6 days in Shawwal. As you know the hadith, who fast Ramadan and follow them with 6 min Shawwal كان كصيام الدهر, as if he fasted the whole year. So they said, since even if she delayed the makeup of Ramadan until then, obviously she did not miss, and this is a 6th of Shawwal. And then the other answer say, if she would have fasted the 6th of Shawwal, what difference does it make if she would have made up? Yani what needs is there? But these are the two opinions, and Allahu A'lam, yani you can do whatever you choose, and following and doing the obligations is more important than the voluntarily. So you try to make up very quick so you can get chance to fast the 6th of Shawwal, and you cannot do both of them with the same intention. Okay? Huh? الزواج في رمضان يعني marriage in Ramadan, والله يعني I personally don't know if it's recommended or it's better to get I know some hadith said it's good to get married on a Friday and all that, but about Ramadan يعني Allahu A'lam, I have no idea if it's recommended, and I don't know of any of the Sahaba that got married specifically in Ramadan. And Ramadan is a month of ibadah and month of worship, so you should not busy yourself with other stuff.
Yesterday I was but when I get here like around 2:30 in the afternoon, it was absolutely the right time when Indonesia would break. It was like 7:30 there. And then I went ahead and I broke around 2:30. So is that the first same day, or I was
عليك يوم. You have to make up that day. يا ده الصوم يوم تصومون أو يوم يصوم الناس، والفطر يوم يفطرون أو يفطر الناس، والأضحى يوم يضحون. So you fast with the people where you are, and you break fast with the people where you are. Okay? That is the rule. So if you, for example, you started fasting, let's say we started Ramadan on Wednesday here, and some countries started Ramadan on Thursday. So here you started on Wednesday, and then you travel during the month to that country that started on Thursday. So when the Eid comes and you're staying there until Eid, after Eid, So when the Eid comes, if you would break fast with them, you would have fasted because they're one day later. So you might end up, if you're on of where you started fasted 30, then you will end up fasting 31 days. And if it was the other way, you might end up fasting 28 days. But the point is, wherever you are, you fast with the people, and wherever you are, you break fast with the people. Even if you're going to end up fasting only 28 days, and then you will have to make up a day after the Eid, okay, to be 29, and that is the shahr. The month is a 29 or 30 days. And if you fast 31, you fasted 31. Inshallah, yani ma'jur. But in your scenario and in your case, even though you fasted, you start fasting in Tunisia, when you come down here in, yani you could have, when you come here landing, you could have yani break your fast before, not to fast since you're traveling and you have the excuse. But if you come to this country, yani to other people, you need to break fast with them. Alright? You break fast with the people where you are. So عليك يوم. He put himself in that position. Okay?
I should have.
Nah, inshallah.
If somebody fasts,
He doesn't have to fast 20 hours, but he chose that. Right?
if somebody fasts like Abu Dawood,
Look.
If the different time, if you go to Florida and you travel to California, starting from Florida, travel to California is 4 hours different. You follow the
How many hours between Tunis and here?
5.
That's it?
Start here 5.
Now it's 4.
No, but with
Tunis?
Yeah, 5. No, not 5 hours.
The difference only 4 hours?
4 hours ahead of us.
Wow, that's not bad. So you didn't fast 20 a day, 20 hours? 18?
It's 18.
You fast 2:30, break it at 7:30, it's 5 hours.
Flying is like 11 hours.
Oh yeah?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
The trip is too long.
if somebody fasts like
Right, he didn't finish his, that California thing? Just the same thing, the
It
same
will
thing.
be maybe less hour or more hour if you travel from one state.
It doesn't matter. If you want to fast while you're traveling, you start fasting where you leave, and you break fast where you land.
Oh, okay.
If the time does not come in while you're in the air, now that's another issue. The time for, if you're over Texas, and the time now for iftar, you don't have to wait until you get to Florida. You break fast. Okay? So sometimes it might be longer, sometimes it might be short.
if someone fasts like Dawood did the other day, right?
Nah.
When they come on Friday,
Ah.
you fast it's not permissible to fast Friday, I'm supposed to fast Saturday.
That is if you're going to only fast that day. But if you're fasting like the fasting of Dawood alayhi salam, as the Prophet ﷺ said, the best fasting is fasting of Dawood. He used to fast one day and break one day, then there's no problem.
For Zakat al-Fitr,
Nah.
to receive a Muslim or
Muslim. The one who receives Zakat al-Fitr, Muslim. And the one who receives Zakat al-Mal, Muslim. And the other opinion that non-Muslims can receive it, يعني خلاف بين أهل العلم, لكن but stronger that المؤلفة قلوبهم are Muslims. They're Muslims, so you wanna bring their hearts يعني stronger into Islam. And some said those who are interested in Islam and there is too much inclination, they're gonna become Muslim, so you give them Zakat al-Mal to يعني make them love the deen, and that is the opinion. But Muslims, look for the Muslims. And أفضل القرابة, the أفضل, even better, the relatives. Okay, because by doing that you got two ajrs, the ajr of sadaqah and the ajr of salat al-rahm, of taking care of the kins. Alright. زكاة المال مالها؟ زكاة المال يعني زكاة الذهب والفضة، أوراق النقدية، العروض التجارة، has to meet 3 conditions for zakat al-mal. What we were talking about, zakat al-fitr. Zakat al-fitr is zakah specifically after Ramadan. And the Prophet ﷺ said the hikmah behind it is يعني to waive any laghu or any nonsense that you have committed during the month. nonsense talk, nonsense behavior, nonsense. That is rafath, things you're not supposed to do, yani minor things. Zakat al-Fitr takes care of that. That is the intention behind, the goal behind it, the hikmah. Zakat al-Mal, that is what you're supposed to pay over what you have. And that can be done before Ramadan, can be done during Ramadan or after Ramadan. Some people, or most people, choose to give it during the month of Ramadan because the reward is multiplied. Okay? Because the reward is multiplied. And has to meet 3 conditions. The first condition is it has to be specific types of wealth. Second, it has to meet or reach an-nisab. Reach an-nisab. An-nisab is the minimum amount you have to become obligated to give zakah. If you have less than that amount, you don't have to give zakah. Okay? If you have over it, then you have to give zakah. Not of the surplus. Some people think of the whole thing you have. And the third condition is al-hawl. It has to be with you for a whole year. So if it's surplus with you, extra, you're not using for a whole year, then, and meets the other 2 conditions, that is zakat al-mal, you become obligated. The question is, what is that nisab? What is that value that I have to have? If I have more, then I have to pay zakah. If I have that amount or more, I have to pay the zakah. If I have less, I don't. That is يعني the value of 85 grams of gold. You do the math. 85 grams of gold. How much they worth today? Or 595 grams of silver. That is a nisab. Okay? You take that and you see the gold, how much 85 grams of gold, and you check the value of that. I don't know how much is the gram of gold today.
$60. It's about 360.
Yeah?
Gram, how?
No, $60.
Let me get my wife during the time.
$60
$60. You sure?
No, it can't be. It's 50.
طيب Google it. The gram of gold? That's what you got?
Not even. Look like $15, $16.
روا Google?
Less than $20.
خش على bloomberg.com. طيب يعني 85 grams of gold. Let's say the gram of gold is $1, all right? $1 times 85 grams, that's $85. So if you have $85 or more, then you become obligated to pay the zakat 2.5% ربع العشر on the amount you have. Okay? So you go 2.5% of 85, the result is what you have to pay zakat. Or 595 grams of silver. طيب, someone will say, but the value of 85 grams of gold is way more than the value of 595 grams of silver. يعني that is what the issue is and the concern. But better for the benefit of the poor and the needy and the people who qualify to receive zakat al-mal, to go with the less value. So you see what's less of the 2, and that becomes the nisab for what you need to pay. Now, I think it's about maybe $3,000 nisab. So if you have that for a whole year, then you go, that is money we're talking about, okay? We're talking about if you have gold, silver. Now that is gold and silver, al-arjah, from the opinions of Ahl al-Ilm, that is gold and silver you're saving. It's not jewelry. The more correct opinion about jewelry of women from gold and silver, there is no zakah. That's the more correct. And all the hadith that about when the Prophet ﷺ saw a woman with the bracelet and gold, and he asked her, did you pay zakah? She said no. He said it's piece of hellfire and all that. All the hadith regarding this issue that support the fact that you should pay zakah on jewelry are weak. Weak hadith. Okay? So the jewelry that the woman uses for her personal use, al-arjah and more correct, wallahu a'lam, there is no zakah on it. If she chooses to give zakah, out of getting from, or to save herself from the argument, the difference in opinions, then good for her. But Allahu a'lam, she's not obligated. So gold and silver you're saving, zakat. And similar to that, money, cash, yani, money. That also, if it's been a year and meets in nisab and all that, then you're obligated to give zakah on that as well. عروض التجارة، العروض يعني من العرض، يعني you offer, huh? When you have something for business, for investment, you offer for sale. And if you have anything with the intention of selling it to make profit, huh? With the intention of selling it. $39, $40, yeah. Yani $40 the gram of gold, 40 times 80, $3,200, $3,300. That's what I said. All right, so that is in the sun. I lend it to you later. خلينا نكمل بس. So when it comes to business, that if you buy a land, okay, you buy a land with the intention that I don't feel comfortable having cash, I'm gonna put my money in this land. يعني and that is the intention. يعني to freeze your money. You don't want cash around. There is no zakah in this land. If you have $1 million and you go buy a piece of property with the intent of just instead of having cash, and you might get robbed, or you don't want to put it in bank ribawi or whatever, you put it in a piece of land, or then there is no zakah on this. Now you should not do that to avoid the zakah. Okay? If you bought a piece of land with the intent of making business, yani if I get a chance to sell it to make some money, I'll sell it. Then you have to pay zakah on this land if it's been in your possession for a year. And the price that you pay, or the zakah you pay, not on the price you bought, but on the price that it's worth today. Alright? Sometimes it's worth more than what you paid for, and sometimes it's worth less than what you paid for. But you're gonna pay zakah 2.5% on the value, on the current value of the property. If you got the property with the intent of making money, yani business, yani if I get a chance to sell it, I'll sell it. If you bought the piece of land with the intent of building on it, even if you're gonna build, let's say, a warehouse or a shopping plaza, then there is no zakah on this land. Okay? If you bought it and you build the building on it, or apartments to rent, there is no zakah on the land or the buildings. There is zakah on the rent if it's been with you for a year and meets the other condition. Alright? If you bought a house with the intent of living in it and you're not living in it, there is no zakah. If you bought a piece of land and you're in doubt whether you're going to live in a house or you're going to use it for business, if you are in doubt and you're not sure, there is no zakah on it. Okay? Because the default with the properties is that you own it to use it. Okay? Alright.
Is there any comment in the Sunnah for a Muslim woman married to work here in the U.S.?
Married for what?
A Muslim married woman, is she allowed to work by the Sunnah here in the U.S.? I mean, we all consider here home away from home.
Huh?
To go to work. A Muslim woman married to go to work.
Muslim women married to go to work?
Yeah.
Huh?
In the U.S.
Yeah.
Muslim woman.
والله US or outside US. Okay? It's يعني the حكم, the deen is deen. Okay? I don't know يعني how is this related to our Ramadan. Okay? But if there are rules that need to be met, if the woman, for those who allow the women to work, and most women who gonna work, they work for need, because of need, and a lot of women work because their husbands did not do their job. They're not fulfilling their responsibilities. If the woman becomes يعني needy to work, then there are points and there are issues that she needs to be aware of, she needs to abide by, and need to be restricted to. And that is with those who said that the woman is allowed to work. And some said وَقَرْنَ فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ وَلَا تَبَرَّجْنَ تَبَرُّجَ الْجَاهِلِيَّ الْأُولَى, and stay in your house, and do not go the way of the Jahiliyyah. that is with the exception of قضاء الحاجة. If there is a need that she needs to leave the house for, that is what يعني these ayat refer to, and sometimes working is needy. If the woman's husband is sufficing her and fulfilling her needs, and she then Allahu a'lam يعني she should not work. She should not work. She should focus on her responsibility in the house. غسل قبل صلاة العيد سنة. Okay, and just the way you make ghusl for Salat al-Jumu'ah, the way you make ghusl after janaba, that is the same ghusl. There is no difference. You make wudu before and then you make the ghusl without يعني washing the feet. That was the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. He'll make wudu without except the feet, and then he'll make ghusl. Or you just jump with the intention of the ghusl in the shower and let the water flow over your body. And Shaykh ibn Uthaymeen rahimahullah said يعني you add to that just mouth, you rinse your mouth during the ghusl, and that should be sufficient. With the right, you should have the intention of ghusl, not the intention of cleaning yourself, or the intention of shower, or the intention of cooling your body. With the intention of ghusl, tahara, because tahara ibadah, and ibadah requires the intention.
And it goes only with the mouth, not the nose, the nose.
يعني استنشاق, the mouth with the nose. يعني the nose. Some of the ulama said recommended, and some said wajib. Depends. For زيارة القبور بدعة. To visit the graves, some people do on العيد. Okay, but زيارة القبور كنت قد نهيتكم عن المقابر فزوروها فإنها تذكركم بالآخرة. I used to forbid you from visiting the graves. Visit it, the Prophet ﷺ said, remind you, because it reminds you of الآخرة. But to make visiting the graves on the day of Eid, يعني the day of Eid is the day of happiness and surur and farah, and you go to cry. So for those who make that specific day to visit the graves and visit their relatives who are deceased, that is bid'ah ma anzalallahu biha min sultan. They spend the whole afternoon there, and they take sweets with them too. No, visiting in general is recommended by the Prophet ﷺ. Okay. مساء خلاف بين أهل العلم regarding women, if they should visit the graves, if they're allowed or not. والله أعلم يعني if they are to control themselves from doing any haram like crying and weeping loud and all that, then it's permissible, even though great ulama said it's not permissible, and it's a difference in opinion. But actually the dalil goes with those who said it's permissible for the women to visit the grave if they abide by the ahkam and by the adab shari'iyya. Janaza is different. Okay, here visiting the graves, we are talking about visiting in general. But al-janaza, yani it's the women are not to walk in the janaza. Okay, because of what it leads to. And they cannot control themselves. يعني a brother died, and we went to his janaza, and they brought his family, his wife and his kids, and you should have seen the scene. يعني تفريع and hair, they're coming with their hair, clothes that see through, as people described it, crying, screaming. هذا يعني محرمات. It's better to avoid it, and women are weak when it comes to these things. يعني when a woman sees her husband being brought down into the grave, يعني it's very difficult. So it's better for them and more kind to their hearts to stay away from these things.
I have a family member,
They're not fasting?
Yeah, because they're diabetic.
They're what?
Diabetic.
Oh, diabetic.
So I
Okay.
still have to do it the second picture for a person who is not fasting.
If a person not diabetic, he didn't die.
No.
Okay.
I don't know.
There is no zakat fitr on the dead people. Diabetic, if you are sick, يعني for those who can't break fast, if you are sick and your sickness is chronic means يعني the chance of you getting out of it is very limited. you're going to live with it for the rest of your life. And you are unable by advice and by experience, by trustworthy doctors, and by experience you know that you cannot fast. Then since the disease is chronic, you are allowed to break your fast, and for each day you feed a poor person. Okay? For each day you feed a poor person. If the disease is temporary, call it acute, يعني it's happening, it's going to take a few weeks, 2-3 weeks, 2-3 days, and you are allowed to break fast, and then you make up, and there is no fidya. You don't have to feed anyone. So this person you're asking about, if they're diabetic, because diabetes is also different levels. Okay? Some diabetic can fast, some diabetic, if they don't have breakfast by 8-9 o'clock, they're passing out. So it depends on the opinion of the doctors that they go to, and if they're trustworthy and they know themselves as well. If he's allowed not, he's not, he falls into this category, he cannot fast, then he feeds one person per day that he does not fast, and yes, he has the excuse to break fast. Even if the person does not fast without any excuse, you still obligated to pay zakat al-fitr, because zakat al-fitr has nothing to do with the fast. The hikmah, as we mentioned, whether he's fasting or not, he's obligated to pay zakat al-fitr. And someone who's not fasting, most probably he does not care about paying zakat al-fitr. But if you're responsible about them, then you pay it on their behalf.
If everybody will come to you, right?
Let me just finish before I forget. If a woman is pregnant, okay, and or breastfeeding, and she thinks that, or she says, I can't fast because I'm afraid for the baby, I'm afraid for myself, I don't think there will be enough milk for the baby, then this is one of the issues that you find too many opinions amongst the ulama. One of the biggest issues amongst the ulama, the fiqhi issues, and the strong opinion is the woman, if she's afraid for herself, for her life, then she breaks fast and then she makes it up. If she breaks fast fearing for her baby, whether not born yet or newborn, and for the milk, and she's afraid the baby will not have enough milk, then one opinion said she makes, and that's the opinion of Umar bin Khattab and Ibn Abbas, that she breaks fast and then she makes it up, and she feeds a poor person for each day. And the other opinion is she makes up the day, that's it. And the third situation, if she's afraid for herself and for the baby together, then she just make up. If she breaks fast, she just makes it up. All right?
If everybody in Miami, to summarize, is very rich, and like they live like doctor, lawyers, engineering, pilots, and then how can you pay zakah? And this zakah when everybody's rich. Should we give the money to the poor Christian, Jewish, atheist, whatever?
If everyone is rich,
not rich, like they in 2 times.
If everyone is not required to pay zakah and there are no people to receive it, then that is when we said you can transfer it to the next locality, to the neighbors, to the Muslims. That is better than giving it to the kuffar. Anything else? Huh? The sisters have any questions? What is the question? I can't hear you. If she's afraid for herself, she doesn't have to pay. She just make up. If she's having a baby, like giving birth. Okay, so what's the question? She breaks fast? Okay. Oh, it's not about Ramadan? So you can ask me on the side, inshallah.
How about the woman who is pregnant if people want to fast, she cannot fast, and she's very weak. So what should she do?
وعلى الذين يطيقونه فدية طعام مسكين. She's weak for what reason?
Like
She's old?
she's young, but she's pregnant. Not very.
She's pregnant?
She's pregnant, yeah. Pregnant and weak at the same time.
Okay, we said if she's so weak, if the fasting will harm her, then we say break your fast. Okay? And when you can fast after birth or whatever, you make it up. That's it. But if you're strong and you think you can fast, but you're afraid for the baby in your womb, then we say break fast. Okay? And you make up with fidya. You feed a person for each day. Answer your question? تخصصي؟
Mouthwash is possible. Toothpaste. No, not the
Wallahi, the question is, can I rinse my mouth with mouthwash while I'm fasting? There is no harm with that as long as you sure you don't swallow it. Okay? يعني the woman is allowed to taste the food, or the cook is allowed to taste the food while they're fasting, but not to swallow. So that is allowed, but to يعني be careful and stay away from the doubt. All right? But there should be no harm doing that, inshallah.
toothpaste is the same thing, right?
Yes, toothpaste is the same thing, and it doesn't have to be miswak toothpaste. We'll ask the dentist. Doing what? The new clothes? No, it's not wajib. Wearing new clothes on the day of Eid is not wajib. But it's day of celebration and day of happiness. يعني be generous with your kids, be generous with your wife, be generous with your friends, and be generous with yourself. يعني if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says خذوا زينتكم عند كل مسجد, إن الله يحب أن يرى نعمته على عبده. Allah loves to see His bounties on His servants, and Allah says in the Quran, take your beauty or beautify yourself at every masjid. Then at Salat al-Eid, you're going to the Musalla, you're going to gathering, you're going to the Muslims, and it's day of happiness and it's day of excitement. يعني you should look.
New Muslim who's also fasting, trying to fast, the person putting the fast because of
Nicotine?
yeah, because
Okay.
and the person when I had them broken
So he stopped smoking? يعني the question is a person who's a smoker. It doesn't matter if he's Muslim or not. You're talking about like because he's new, he's not used to it and all that. This person, first of all, smoking is haram. There is no doubt about this. And second, if it's impossible for him to fast since he's been kafir, if it's impossible for him to fast at the current time, then we say we know that at certain time when he clears his system, he will be able to fast. Okay, so he should try his best. Okay, we don't give him the rukhsa and the allowance. Go and fast and break your fast because you're nicotine. No, you try your best, and when you realize there is no way or you cannot, and there is hawa comes here. The desires and all that comes, and the weakness of iman, all that comes into the picture. So if he reaches a point where he knows it's impossible for him to be able to continue fasting, then he needs to make it up when he can do that. Okay, if he breaks that day.
instead of to pay.
No. It's like a disease. Etiquette about the masjid. Wallahi, the way you respect your masjid, your house, this is the house of Allah, is more worth to respect. The way you'd like to keep things organized in your house, you should like to keep it organized in this house, the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The way you discipline your kids in the house, in your house, the way you should discipline your kids in the house of Allah. Some people come, and as if they're coming ajallakumullah, to the dumpster. So he will drink and throw it there. There are no slaves here or servants that under your service. You should be responsible. You should see something on the floor, you pick it up yourself. Should not be the cause of harm. Should not be the cause of harm. And there are many things that need to be respected in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you should be considerate about other Muslims. You should be considerate about other Muslims. A brother was telling me he prayed in the back, and after the 8 Taraweeh, some brothers stay in the back, they don't want to pray Shafi' or Witr, or they're waiting. Actually, he said they joined the Shafi' and the Witr after it started, and they were yapping and talking and annoying everyone else. This is not allowed in the houses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So have respect for the rest of the people, have respect for the book, for the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you know what you need to do when you come to the house. You have kids, you need to control them, you need to teach them, you need to educate them, you need to discipline them, teach them that this is the house of Allah. They need to do 1, 2, 3, just the way you teach them when they go to school, the way you teach them when they go to the park, the way you teach them when they go to other people's house. Why don't you do that in the house of Allah? You find some kids running around, and we're not talking about 1 and 2 years old. We're talking about 5 and 6 and 7 years old. These kids can be disciplined. You can explain to them and they will listen. We see 5 and 6 years old who sit and stand by their parents and pray. They don't make any noise. So why your kids cannot be like that? Be jealous. Okay? So these things, bathrooms, food, diapers, plates, empty plates, all these need to be, I don't need to tell you what you need to do about this stuff. You know better than me. Okay? So respect the house of Allah and respect the feelings of other Muslims. Respect the feelings of other Muslims. If people come here to worship and you're causing harm and annoying them and taking away your focus, stay home. Pray your Isha and leave. If you think you're going to hang out and hang around and talk and chat while people are praying, you shouldn't do that. Even with the salah, if you're reciting loud where you don't have to, and that annoys your brothers who is praying next to you, you shouldn't. Even dhikr and recitation. So imagine when it's laghu and nonsense talk. Alright? So be aware of that. And the etiquettes of the masjids are very something that we are so deficient in. We are so deficient in. And also the clothes, the way some people come dressed, especially the women's side. Some people tell me what women get dressed to salah, you find their hair showing either from the top or from the bottom, or wearing convertible hijabs, or wearing short sleeves, or see-through and all that. Come on. You know exactly what you need to do. Okay? But Allah al-Musta'an. Some brothers also with shorts showing a lot of their thighs and or they're wearing tight clothes when they go for sujood or ruku', half of their back showing. All that from nullifiers of the salah, because you're exposing your awra out of choice. So stay away from that. Dress modestly and make sure your body is covered while you're praying. So a lot of things that need to be discussed. Inshallah, we can talk about it one time. Anything else?
Is it permissible when you masjid, right? Talk about worldly men when you say the masjid. Talk about like basketball, football, soccer. How much money I'm making. Is it permissible to talk about something like this in the masjid?
This is the house of Allah is a place of dhikr and remembering Allah and reciting the Quran. We're not saying these things are haram, but that is not the appropriate time. The Prophet ﷺ would pray Fajr, and the Sahaba will sit and will start joking and talking about al-Jahiliyyah and what they used to do and all that. That is okay. But to make it the major thing you're talking about and all the time and annoying other people, then you start getting into the haram. Alright? Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum.